into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey guys, welcome back to the Grimm After Show here at AFTERBUZZ TV. I'm your host, Zach Wilson. I'm very excited to be talking to you about this episode of The Rat King. And, well, let me introduce who's here tonight to help us recap this episode. Tauri Miller, here as always.
I'm Tauri J. Miller.
And on the other side of the table, Yael Tygiel is here. Yael Tygiel, unfortunately, cannot talk because if you look behind that mask, we have the one and only Damien Puckler joining us in studio tonight. You know him as Meisner. He has been nice enough to join us here to talk about this episode. Guys, I'm so excited. I know that you guys are too. I haven't even seen their reactions, but yeah, I want to, for the record, Yael has yet to say a word.
Yeah. Very quiet.
But Damien, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah. Are you enjoying this season so far?
Love it.
We're really getting, Meisner's really becoming a part of this world that we're in.
Yeah.
Did you think that he was going to be going this long when you started?
I didn't even think he was going to come back. And I think I owe that to a few people, but to Yael as well, and Alex and France, and yes. So yeah, I'm very excited.
They're telling you to breathe.
It'll be okay.
All right. Well, this episode was a lot of fun. Before we jump full on into it, we'd start off the show as we do every week with the quote that opened up the episode. Rats, they fought the dogs and killed the cats.
Dun, dun, dun.
I love it when it rhymes because it makes it so much weirder to say. And that quote is from The Pied Piper of Hamlin, which was written by Robert Browning. Oddly enough, also a story that the Brothers Grimm wrote, but not the Grimm version. Huh. It's the classic Pied Piper tale, luring the rats out, and then when they didn't pay, luring the children out.
Right.
The same way. Yeah. And so this episode got us into a lot of Reinigen. There's a bunch of interesting Vesson for me to pronounce tonight.
I'm excited.
And we'll get into that.
Say it again.
Yeah, say it again.
Reinigen.
That's actually very
Reinigen
That's actually as German as you've ever said anything.
Oh, it's going to get bad later.
Reinigen.
So
Reinigen? Reinigen.
Do it again.
Oh my God. All right. Well, first I want to talk about the whole storyline with both Trouble and Meisner in this episode because the two of them
You want to talk about Trouble, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the two of them are seemingly on a team at this point. This is the interesting thing that I've found with this season so far is that their storyline has been the most intriguing. Mm-hmm. They've only been in these like minutes of episodes, but at first we thought that Trouble was kidnapped, and then she was in a cage, and then Meisner and Trouble were wrestling in a cage.
I mean, that's what I pictured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
you call it wrestling?
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you
I go with that.
Damien, when you start out this season, did they give you an idea? And I know we talked a little bit about this off screen, but like when they bring you in, do they give you an idea of like where your character is or where you're going?
No. Not really. You hardly get like, you know, the first two episodes, you get an idea of what they're kind of doing and talking a little bit about it, but generally you just go with episode per episode and you just wait for the next script. Okay. Because you know, they have something in mind, and a lot of times I think they also do it because they don't want you to almost know, because then you could also say too much. So but yeah, I did not know. No.
Okay. Do you know where Meisner has been in all this time?
I do, yes.
Okay.
And Meisner does too.
I assume he knows
so.
what's up. Well, so then we get Trouble just wanders out of nowhere at the end of last episode. And now we're picked up with her. My big question, how did she know where they were? How did Meisner know where they were?
So, theories, right?
I
can't talk when he's looking at me. Oh, no. Okay. Theories are that they tracked the phone. He has the phone. Nick, I can't figure it out. Nick has the phone.
Nick has the phone.
Trouble
Oh, yeah,
has his phone.
okay.
So they obviously tracked the GPS. And then for those who weren't paying attention, Meisner says that he tracked the GPS on Trouble's motorcycle.
Right.
Because Yael pays attention to what Meisner says.
Just
I
like,
mean, well, sorry, the first time I was not listening to a word he said.
Well, I know how
Second time.
Meisner found them
Right.
after Trouble's been there,
Yeah.
but it was more like Trouble knew where they were.
right.
So I guess Meisner's been tracking him through the phone because you have a smartphone, a mega smartphone, because it can read, the screen can read a thumbprint.
Right.
So of course it can track a GPS.
I mean, if the
Though-
motorcycle has
Well,
a GPS,
Meisner knew where Diana was. He'll know where Nick is.
That's true.
Let me just put it that
he
way.
knows where I am.
Yeah.
but if
He
the
knows where
phone,
Yael is.
He knows when you're sleeping.
I know.
He knows when
Knows
you're
what I'm
in bed.
good.
And wrestling.
Oh, God. Where's that fan?
Here.
Thanks.
But if the phone has a GPS, then he would have been able to find her in the hospital because she also had one of those encrypted fun phones.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that they've been keeping tabs on Nick this whole time and letting him think that he's not on, I wouldn't say a leash, but like he's letting him think that he is secure, but they know everything, every move he makes. Confirmed or denied?
I almost take my
No, I mean that stands to reason, especially if the root of, we've been calling it the SGO, the secret
Right, I
government
heard that,
organization, It's because we still don't know who they're backed by. The Vesson Council seems like another reasonable option. Although we don't really know where they stand in regards to, there's so many different groups in play right now,
Right.
because you've got the Resistance. This could be the Resistance or a form of the Resistance, since we know that Meisner was at least involved with them, but as a merc, we don't know what to believe.
Yeah.
The Vesson Council, we've got, I mean, the evil Nazis from last season.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the
The
Nazis.
Vesson Rhine.
The Vesson Rhine, thank you. I was like, it's not the Rhine Guard.
You're thinking of wine.
But so, and now we've got the what we're calling the Claw, for lack of a
Or the
known,
Uprising.
the Uprising, for lack of a known title.
Right.
The Occultatums is not catchy.
No. Though if we were calling them the Claw, I feel like we'd have to call the SGO the Gadgets.
The guy.
Gadgets.
I like it a lot.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, that's the interesting is Trouble's motorcycle. We just started talking about it. She has a $30,000 base James Bond motorcycle.
I have a theory. She stole it from Arrow. That actually was the thought,
theory.
right? Like the arrows shoot out the back, and I was like, well, first off, Nick, don't push the buttons. Like, you don't know what
As
those
soon
do.
as those things happen, I was like, something's gonna blow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Well, as a motorbike fanatic, this bike's faster than the one in Arrow.
sorry, I'm picturing you on a motorbike.
So that is a good bike, though.
That's it.
Yeah.
I don't know anything.
Oh yeah, that's a really good bike. It's a BMW 1300, so that's a big bike. That's a cool bike.
Do they wheel it out on set, and you're just like, can I play with it?
Oh yeah.
And Transpo's
always
just
trying
like,
to get on.
no.
Every chance I have.
No, you cannot.
This is my bike? I feel like my character could use this.
No, it's a cool bike.
But so at that point, Trouble is really just trying to find out, or they're trying to figure out what Trouble's doing with the bike and with this organization, because she's beaten up by someone. Someone was strong enough to beat her senseless while she was wearing body armor.
The coolest body armor ever.
Yeah.
I was like, I want that. I don't know what police department that is, but I want that.
The SGO. Or,
Yeah.
Gotta join the SGO.
Okay.
do you guys think she was fighting the Uprising and got caught?
So there are a lot of fan theories about I can't stop. I can't.
I'm looking over here then.
Thank you. So there are a lot of fan theories
here,
about Trouble being brainwashed a little bit by Meisner and coming after Nick, or that it's a trap of some sort, or that it's a setup, because the last we saw her was with Meisner, and it looked like there was some fighting with them, you know?
I mean, she was locked up at one point.
And then he let her out.
And then he let her out.
Right.
But why was she locked up in the first place?
Because she was bad.
What are we talking about?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
I know.
Well, I guess cage matches are what Meisner's specialty is, because we see him in another one today.
Yeah.
Specifically cage matches with women. Just I'm noticing a pattern here.
Yeah. Do you mean the fight scene in this episode?
Well, there was the fight scene in the corridor, but then at the end, the door's shut again, and all we hear is just fighting sounds, presumably fighting sounds.
Yeah, presumably. Yeah. I'm gonna have a sip of water right now.
Yeah. But so Trouble gets taken to the hospital, and she's dealing with these two. I'm just calling her Nurse Ratchet.
I wrote Nurse Jerkface.
Nurse Jerkface.
That was my censored version.
You have a concussion? Slap.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was a nurse. She was like, "You have a concussion," and then starts slapping her.
Right, yeah.
So if she didn't already, she does now.
Yeah, you should not read my notes; they get dirty.
But so Trouble gets brought in there. How do you think they knew that was who they were looking for? Because these two members of the Uprising go out of their way to get her to reveal that she's a Grimm. But how did they know who she was and that she was even there?
Well, I would assume that essentially, if she was already fighting the Uprising, then they would know that someone who was beaten up and battered with specific scars escaped from them, and they would assume that she would go to the hospital. So like it's like when the cops lose a suspect, they're like, "Whoa, we shot that guy, so we're looking for a suspect with one single gunshot wound, and check the hospitals." So I assume it's the same.
Well, because what that implies, the reason I ask is that means that they have agents everywhere. That they would have had to have people at pretty much every hospital in the Portland area knowing to look for this.
Yeah.
And to have like 2 people on staff at this hospital, who knows how many others. It's a very, and this is clearly a big conspiracy group, or the Uprising is going to be real.
We
dangerous.
knew that, right? Because
Yeah.
we had the lady with all the photos on her.
Well, it was. I mean,
which I examined, and there was nothing useful in them.
That could have been a couple dozen people, though, with like strategically placed, like, okay, this guy's doing our money, like we have this person to do this, but to have people that could just find them and let you know where they are, that implies a much bigger organization.
Well, I mean, and we see it a little bit with when they introduce Hook, in that like he took these kids who were in police custody and brought them to his facility.
Yeah.
So it takes some pull to do something like that.
Oh yeah, Hook.
And it's like the warden.
Yeah, Warden Hook.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, he's got Peter.
Yeah.
All right, so the other big side of this is that like they get her to reveal, and we got our first shot of a Grimm's eyes ever from a Vesson point of view. Not what I was expecting, only because of the reflections.
Yeah.
What were you expecting?
I was expecting, honestly, just like pure black. Reflection, I guess there would be reflection.
Yeah.
It sort of, for me, like it took me out of it for a second. I wanted to see like that infinite void that they're talking about. But all I could see was the
nurse.
The nurse, yeah. And which I think she's a Wendigo.
That's not fun.
The Grimm wiki said there was a Wendigo in this episode, and so I'm pretty sure it's her.
Yeah.
I don't know, Damien, could you give us any light on what type of Vesson she was?
I'm just gonna go with what you say.
Okay.
I'm gonna be very quiet.
Okay. She was the one I couldn't figure out. There was others that we'll get into when we get down to the fight scene. Okay. But so, because while she's knocked out, Meisner shows up.
Yes. That is correct. That does occur.
He just like walks up and stares into the camera. And it's the big reunion that we've been waiting for since that plane scene. Since the Casablanca Grimm.
And the black and white flashback.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when he's walking up, I mean, like, you were obviously excited, but to say the least. But he's looking for trouble at this point in more ways than one.
And he finds it.
And he finds it. What did you think? Do you think Adeline behaved as you guys expected her to? Do you think she was going to freak out?
So first off, I have a note that when they recognize each other's voices over the phone, that's how you know it's true love, right there. That's how you know that they're meant to be, guys. And then she lets him in, and then they're staring at each other, and that was when they were supposed to kiss. Just so we're clear, that was when it was supposed to happen. And it didn't.
Well, I mean, we had the memory of that, like, cute little cheek kiss, so that was nice.
We all wanted more.
Don't look at me.
He agrees.
It did come for Adeline at, like, right as she was, like, about to be, like, in this, like fall into a relationship with Nick in this because we talked about that a few weeks ago when they were like, oh, I'm wearing your shirt.
Yeah.
And we're like, this is uncomfortable.
But now we have a love triangle.
Yep.
It's a beautiful, beautiful love triangle.
I feel like that's like its own spin-off where it's them all living in a house together, raising the baby.
Yeah, and then Diana will come back. It'll be great. It's perfect.
Oh, it'll be like Full House, Grimm style.
One happy family.
Yeah. And then Yael waltzes in.
It's our wacky neighbor Yael.
But Meisner, I think it does seem like he wants to, and Damien, this is a credit, I think you had a really strong performance here, is that when he is talking to Adeline, he's like, I'll tell you as much as I can. Mm-hmm. And in that one line, it sort of implies like he does want to tell her and bring her in, but for whatever reason that we don't know yet, he can't. There's absolutely a big secrecy about the SGO that he can't reveal it to, especially these people, I think.
Yet.
Do you guys think that Adeline and Nick are going to be brought into the circle?
I am going to wait till predictions for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. Same.
Yeah. I have lots of thoughts. I will hold them to myself like I have all show.
But so Meisner's looking for trouble and chases him. Do we have some fun coming from the chat room?
There's a question asked if I'll ever disagree with Meisner. And I'm going to say that I thought at the beginning of the season that Meisner was going to be our big bad this season. And I was ready to accept that and love him anyway.
Yael loves her bad guys.
I do.
Well, conflicted characters are a lot of fun. And I think the reason that we've sort of had fun with the Meisner character is that we don't know what side he's on. We don't know whether to...
He's on Meisner's side.
Yeah.
I think that's why I like him so much. Because he's like, you can pay me? You want me on your side? It can cost
Well,
you.
we don't even know if that's true, because he's worked for the good guys enough times that, like...
He might be a good guy.
He might be a good guy, or even just a good merc, like a mercenary who only takes jobs that he believes in.
Right.
Like
a merc with a code.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a good example, but...
Zolo.
Yeah. Well, he does.
Yeah,
I think he smuggles a lot of drugs. Like, then they just don't talk about it. But
minor detail.
Yeah.
Like pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, exactly.
He only takes like cancer-fighting drugs to orphans. That's his whole thing.
HUT medical insurance.
Totally.
Anyway, way off topic. But he's clearly out to protect Trouble. So I don't think that he's... Whatever state she's in, she and Meisner are right now on the same side. Because he rushes to the hospital to save her, busts in the back to fight, and this is where I get to have some struggles. Well, there's a Hunjager, which I've had to say many, many times.
Do you want me to say it correctly?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Hundjäger.
Hunjager.
Yeah, that's pretty good though.
I like it.
And a murcielago, which is a South American bat creature that has been seen in like other content, but not on the main show to this point, which was cool. They threw us like a semi-new Vesson.
Just a little recap on that, on the stuntman, because I want to actually say thank you to him, because wearing that outfit, you cannot breathe.
Yeah,
So he was wearing a
At all.
mask.
And he had to. Well, it goes all the way down, and he could not breathe in that at all. So, and he had to do the fight scene over and over again, and that was tough. And I mean, my hat off to him. It was awesome.
Well, I wanted to make sure we
They
got
both-
to this
both stunning
scene
were awesome.
quick because I wanted to talk to you a lot about how this all works. So that was a mask as opposed to a visual effect.
Yeah, he was wearing prosthetics.
Is it usually prosthetics? Because I know a lot
Well,
of the
when
faces
it's a
are
fight
CGI.
scene, you kind of have to do that because
Okay. Because it's moving so fast.
Yeah.
So that'd be a tough for the VFX team to follow all that, because this was a really well coordinated scene, especially just like the buddy cop feel that we got from Meisner and Nick was so much fun. Like Meisner, and it's almost like they've like met and they're like old partners.
It is
but
just as much fun for me, especially when I read it. I was like back to back with Nick. That's awesome. That's cool. I was excited for it, so I was really looking forward to it. And then meeting Nick for the first time, David for the first time actually, and he's awesome, cool, great, and we just kind of like we had so much fun that day. It was awesome. So cool.
So how because you're trained in martial arts and stunts, right?
Yeah.
Is that how you got your start?
That's kind of how I started with stunts and fight choreography and stuff like that, and then kind of did more and more acting and kind of combined the two.
Cool.
So yeah.
How much of the choreography was you, and how much?
Well,
was the stuntman?
we have Matt Taylor, who's the main stunt choreographer, and we had a fight choreographer too. And we kind of play around. We all get together, and then you go, "What you got? What do you have? What can you show us?" And let's do that, and let's change this because this might not work with the camera angle. They all work together, and it's kind of like it's an interesting process because you kind of everybody throws something out, and you try to see if that works, and then you kind of rehearse it a few times, and then you usually change it completely, and then the director comes in and changes it again, and by the end you just come up with something that's kind of a combination of everything, because it has to work not only with the camera, it has to work with the actors, it has to work with the stunt people, it has to work with the facility, because sometimes you rehearse. Like the first one I ever did in season 3 in the woods, we rehearsed in a gymnasium, and then we came out to the woods, and it was very different doing it right there, because it was muddy and everything. So you have to adapt, but that's the fun of it.
Yeah,
so
imagine uneven ground is not exactly your
and
friend.
it would start raining like crazy, and then later snowing that was not intended, but it looked so cool. When
Yeah.
the plane
Beautiful.
comes in, that was awesome.
So beautiful.
Because of the snow, right?
Yeah. It's because of the snow.
The big thing that a lot of people in the chat roll are talking about in this scene, beyond just it being a cool scene, was that supposedly, you could hear somebody say the word Grimm while looking at Meisner, which would be a huge twist. The implication being that Meisner is actually a Grimm, because we've speculated a lot as to how exactly Meisner fits into this world. Because as far as we can see right now, he is just a Kersai Schlichkinen. And when I've tried
say
a
it
lot,
again?
Yeah, say that again.
a Kersai Schlichkinen.
Very good, I think.
I mean, it's not real words, I don't
Gesundheit.
think so. But
Thank you, it
But
is
a
holiday,
Kersai
yes.
being someone who is involved, knows about this world, but isn't a Vesson or a Grimm or anything like that.
You mean a human?
A human, basically.
You mean one of us?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
actually
basically.
human. There are some, in this
Juliet
world.
before
Right. Before she became
before she
Axe
became
Beast.
Axe and Beast.
Right.
But how does Meisner fit into this? Can he? Because if he's not a Vesson or a Grimm, can he see a Vogue? And it seemed from the way they played this that he could. So that has big implications of its
It's
own.
also possible that they vogued in a way that humans could see.
Right.
That's true.
So so basically it boils down: is he a Grimm, is he a Vesson, or is he badass normal? Are like the questions.
He is a very good fighter if he's not beyond what he's a good fighter regardless, but beyond good if he's just human.
Right.
It was beautiful.
I mean, is that a question that you can answer?
Look at him trying to read me. No, that's not a question I can answer.
See, I'm avoiding. I'm I don't want to know. But it's fun to speculate.
But there were a lot of fans tweeting that that's what they heard and saying that they heard him say Grimm. And
I think they actually didn't say Grimm. I think they said Yael.
Yeah, I actually think it was just my voice going, it's him.
It was your voice going, Meisner.
See, I watched this episode with Yael on Friday, and she was doing like this like dance of excitement while the scene was going on.
Yep.
So I think she yelled so loud
Yeah.
that the scream
There
went
you
back
go.
through time.
Yeah.
And it was on set, and they were like, well, that was our last take. Like, we got a wrap for the day. But I guess we got it.
You're welcome.
But yeah, so, end of that, Yael and Tauri, do you think he's a Grimm, or do you think he's a human?
I'm gonna be real honest. I don't care. As long as he sticks around, I don't care.
Very acceptable answer.
Thank you.
Yeah. If I were to take a guess, this is my like official guess.
Okay.
He is a former royal, so he can see the Volg, but he doesn't necessarily have to be a Vessin. So I think he's a former royal that either decided not to follow the rest of them and became a merc, or essentially he was displaced or banned from the family and just left.
I like that theory a lot.
That's cool. That could be cool.
I also feel like if he was a Grimm, Adeline would have said something.
Yeah.
We were trying to figure out if she ever vogued in front of him in the where they were looking eye to eye in the woods in the cabin. But
Well, then let me say this
Well,
theory.
when Sebastian dies, and she pulls the gun on the guy who's holding the gun at me, she vogues.
yeah.
I
But who
remember-
I guess yeah.
But was she looking in your eyes?
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard not to, right?
I have
Am I
another
right?
theory. Is I lost it. I lost it. Forget it. Ignore me.
Well, if you come back to it, basically, I'm not sure. The evidence is
Has she ever been this quiet?
no.
No, never.
The evidence for the Grimm theory is strong, not super strong. It's a cool theory. I would love it if it was true, so I want it to be true for several reasons. I think it would be a fun twist on the character and just give it a new backstory to this person. Because we've only gotten little bits and pieces of Meisner's backstory, so just getting into that would be fun. But it would imply that this organization, whoever they are, has Grimms throughout their ranks and could possibly lead to maybe this is a Grimm organization, because we haven't really gotten into where all the Grimms are in the world.
Yeah.
We know where the Royals are. We've seen a couple of Grimms now. Like, we've got Trouble and we've got Kelly and Nick. And that's it. And Josh's dad.
right.
Yeah.
Those are the only Grimms we've seen on this show, but it's implied that there's a lot more throughout the world. So where are they, and why aren't they more? If there's an uprising coming, a huge like worldwide uprising, of course Grimms would need to be involved. So this could be, what if there's just like a bunch of Grimms like leading this whole thing, and they are more progressive than we thought most Grimms are, like Nick, willing to work with Vessin when needed. And then Meisner is just one of the Grimms in this army of Grimm.
I'd really like if Meisner was something new, something that like we haven't met yet.
That could be cool.
I think
Yeah.
that would be really interesting, because
Yeah.
right now we seem to be, aside from the organizations, we keep seeing like the same things and people over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like an ancient, like
Stop. Okay.
So I do want to give some time, at least a little bit, to talk about the Rat King
Oh yeah.
and that whole plot, the best end of the week.
I told you that's what I wrote.
Yeah, there you go.
I like guys. I like cats. Yeah.
This was a cool. I liked this this parallel between the with the Reinegard, the Reinigen,
Very, very good.
the Reinigen and the Krausstreich.
Wait, Damien, you do it again.
Reinigen and Klausstreich.
Thanks.
Reinigen, Krausstreich.
This is a pretty good
I'm
game.
getting better. I'm getting better. I always get better, and then I come back next week and it's terrible again. But so this reminded me of the episode a few seasons ago with the Blutbot and the Bauerschwein. Just like taking these two characters that we are familiar with as rivals and playing with what that looks like in this world. So it's rats and mice, the classic chase.
Yeah.
And of course, the classic like to pick on the rat people. They're like literally yelling "rat boy" at this guy, and I felt so bad. I was like, this actually hurt. As like watching like him begged like to just be let go.
It was like a bullying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was worse kind of bullying because like you're not sure if they're going to kill him or not. Because they implied like these are not good guys. Like they basically implied that like they have killed them before, but not tonight. We're just not going to do that tonight. And of course, so we meet Yael's new favorite cat lady. Bringing new meanings to the word cat lady.
She was adorable. She was a cat. I just wanted to cuddle up with her.
She had like that calico thing going on.
Oh yeah.
It was cute. It was
I
cool.
just wanted to make her purr.
Is that your favorite cat, Calico?
Stop it.
Just checking.
Stop it.
That's an insider.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
We have an inside joke.
An inside joke.
It's already began, guys. When's the wedding?
I did think it was funny how they like sort of introduced this though, and they're like, "Yeah, we got to go check on Trouble, but we got a case."
Yeah. This real upset me. Wu should have been waiting and watching over Trouble in the hospital, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a thing Wu would do.
He could be, yeah.
But instead, he's busy doing Wu's clues and finding.
They really are doing Wu's clues.
Oh, absolutely.
Like he's like on the Wu's like, I'm gonna go home, take a bath, like relax. There's no crazy Dad Vesson stories this week.
Yeah.
Hold on, Wu. Put that jacket back on the rack.
And then we were discussing this. Then they give the info on speakerphone, like real sensitive information, Nick. We found this info, and it's Trouble's face. We're gonna shout it on speakerphone. Ridiculous.
Those words mean nothing to anyone else.
Whatever.
No one at the police station is listening in.
They might just be talking about a case. I'm sure that everybody's talking about cases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They might not.
There are no intuitive detectives there who are good at piecing clues together to form a bigger theory.
That's true. When we went on this case with the Rat King, all I could think was like, where are the other cops that aren't like, this seems silly. This is weird. Why are people saying they've seen a giant rat?
Yeah, well, this is another one that's like, I wonder how they cleaned it up in terms of like pressing charges or like dealing with cleanup of all these bodies.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the Riesenratten?
What was it?
The Riesenratten?
Close. Riesenratte.
Riesenratten.
There you go. It's the R.
Riesenratten.
It's the what? It's the what?
The R.
Yael's gonna pass out before we get through this.
Yep.
It's gonna be great.
So, but what do you guys think of the Rat King itself?
You mean when the Power Rangers got together and made the
Yes.
the big guy?
Yeah, the Voltron of rats.
Yeah.
Of rat people.
I thought it was. I thought it was a really cool design. I thought that them putting science into it was really interesting because I feel like usually it's just like this is how things are, but they were like all the rats get together, their cells become cancerous and they can't tell the difference, so they become one giant amorphous being, and I thought that was a really cool concept.
Yeah. I liked the cancer-like cells thing.
Yeah.
I did think like, are they gonna have to, if it's cancer, are they gonna like have to use a microwave, like radiation, to break them up? But no, Nick builds a better mousetrap out of power lines.
Yeah.
And that's how they take them down.
Yeah.
It was interesting. I mean, this is a somewhat. I thought the overall arc in this episode made it very. I love this episode.
Right.
The Vesson of the Week was like, it was cool. It was different, and we want different at this point.
I was just waiting for it to tie into the Uprising.
Yeah, it didn't tie in as much as some of the other ones did.
I mean, They were
Did
rising
it?
up,
No,
guys.
I'm just saying.
Maybe it comes back. Maybe one of the sides is like, we need a trump card to win this. Go get the Riesenratten.
That was the best one yet, Derek. You actually said it right.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chaos Primer has an excellent question. When they became the giant rat, where did their clothing go?
Well, that's like the Hulk. Where does his clothing go?
It tears.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Well, their clothing tore.
But then
I
they
guess.
were,
Well,
when they died, they were back in their clothing.
Yeah, it like.
I didn't. I just want to be clear. I didn't overthink this. Someone else did.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you first. Sorry.
I was gonna say, if you've seen Akira, you'll know that once the cells start multiplying, it just absorbs everything around.
All right,
so
I'll
it just
take it.
became a part of it.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Very good.
Maybe it's similar to how like you don't see Vessin. Maybe it's an illusion.
Their clothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like when they form together, it rather than where humans don't see the Vessin, when they form
all
the
an
Rat
illusion.
King,
Yeah.
Sure.
you don't see their clothing.
I was gonna go with there's like Mystique.
Right. Oh, like her clothes.
Her clothes change.
Are made of
Yeah.
her quills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And if we're gonna just keep throwing in nerd references, I'm going.
Yeah. I'm into it.
But they do manage to take it down and then like maybe kill a bunch of people.
Maybe.
We don't really know. Some of them were moving.
All right.
Potentially they electrocuted a lot of people.
Yeah. Just the outer layer is dead.
But before we get into predictions and all that, I wanted to just talk to Damien to you for a little bit. So up to this point, like, what's been your favorite part of this role?
Well, I mean, playing Meisner is awesome because he's that kind of guy that, you know, he is mysterious. He is. You don't really know what side he's on. He has his own agenda, and that's. I mean, it's everybody, any actor's dream to play a guy that's not only tough, but also kind of like he lives in his own kind of world. It's like he creates his own little world. You know, I mean, it's like a guy thing. You kind of want to be that tough guy who's like, I'm doing the way I want to do it. Yeah. I'm doing it my way, and you know, I'm just gonna. This is how we're gonna play this out. To be in charge and all that kind of stuff. And I think, I love the hardest scene actually was giving birth. Because that was like, because especially like being Meisner in that scene too, because I think Meisner, that was the only time Meisner was a little bit like, oh crap, you know what I mean? So he's usually quite in charge, and you know he knows what he's doing, and
Stop looking at me.
No,
What?
Sorry, go on.
trying to be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He really likes
He's very good
to
at wrestling. So no, it's great to play that character, absolutely, and especially the way it's kind of built. You know, the character became who he actually was. Because when I first started, I was literally originally hired to play a guy in the train having that phone conversation, and yes, I assassinated somebody, but it was just a kind of assassin who had killed somebody who was reporting back, and you know that's what I got as an actor. I was like, okay, that's cool, that's fun to play. But now that he's evolved into this guy that is actually, you know, you kind of just really like him because I really like him play him because he's like, you know, he's got his own little thing going there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, has playing the role has there been a different approach? Like, obviously, when it was a one-off character, that was different. But in that first season, when you were with Adeline in the cabin versus this guy that we know now, who seems that was a much more personal storyline. It was like two characters having to come together and like protecting a woman. But this is like Meisner in charge.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's. I mean, it's definitely evolved and it's definitely become a little bit more. That the character's become more, I don't want to say important, but he's become more in charge, as you say, is the right word to say it. But I definitely feel that the question is, was he ever not in charge, or was that whole beginning? Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, who is this guy exactly? Because you know, some people have even said, I've seen. Well, I'm just saying, I'm honestly don't really know, but. I have had people like approach me on the internet and say, well, the question is now, because in the beginning he seemed like to be, you know, Captain Bernard's sidekick, and when they first got together,
right.
And now people say, but was he? You know, I mean, just for example, if you go back to Resistance, and when they're in the cabin, not in the cabin, but when they're they've caught somebody and he's supposed to to give him the gun to kill him, they make him do a lot of important stuff. And he's not just doesn't seem like he's just one of the regular guys. He always seemed to be a little bit more important. So, and I've kind of played on that too. I've kind of created the character that, you know, has a lot more depth to him. I mean, he says that, you know, his girlfriend has been killed by the Royals. His dad had been killed by the Royals. He's said this all in season 3. I mean, there's a lot of depth to that character. He's not just coming out of nowhere going, oh, you know, I'm gonna, you know, I wanna help these people. I wanna help these people. I think he has personal agenda, and I think he also has, you know, important stuff he has to deal with. Generally.
So did the writers sort of give you some of that backstory to work with when they first started making Meisner more than just an assassin? Did they give you that, or do you have to sort of build that in your head?
You kind of build that in your head and go by what you get. You know, I mean, you make choices. Sometimes, you know, I've made choices and I was like, oh, now we're going this way, you're going that. That's the fun part about TV. You know, it's different in a film. You get the whole script and you know where you're going, where you start. But in TV, you kind of go with a flow, and that, you know, you don't know what's going to happen 2 episodes down the line a lot of times, so you just kind of go with it. It's fun too, though, because it kind of goes, whoa, okay. But that's life, isn't it? I mean, life, you kind of like, oh, I'm going to do this, and then next week and you go, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm not doing that. I'm going to do something else. So that's, you know, you just adapt and go with it.
Cool. Yeah, you look like you had a question.
Nope. I was just listening. Just enjoying myself here.
So we were talking a little bit earlier. You're trained in a lot of martial arts. Is that something that they specifically thought of Meisner? We know we needed a martial artist, or is that something that you then brought to it later?
Well, originally, as far as I know, they wanted somebody who speaks German, so I could do that in the train because I spoke in German. And they wanted somebody who could possibly do a fight scene, but I wasn't sure about that. So they kind of did the first thing in the train. I spoke German, and I went home and I was like, okay, I guess that's it. And then they said, well, we're going to have him reoccur, come back and do some more. And then they heard about the martial arts, and they were like, oh, we got to include this. We got to bring this. You know, we got to bring this in here. And then they got, you know, the 2 amazing stunt guys, and we did this fight scene in the end, which was fun. It's kind of
nice.
Became part of it.
I had a question about a scene.
Which scene is that?
It's the scene where Meisner, to protect Adeline, takes off his shirt and gets in the bed.
It's funny how you remember that scene.
One of my favorite scenes.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, what's the question? I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, no, that was it.
Oh, that was the question.
That was the question.
That was the question.
What is your motivation?
Well,
there you go. Go with that.
You guys have to understand one thing too. That was the first time I met Claire. I mean, for me, that's not I'm an actor. I'm at that point I was kind of recurring. I was coming back a little bit and doing some stuff. So I was like, I got to know some people. I wasn't as nervous as in the beginning, but you get to, you know, meet a regular on the show, and it's always a little bit, you know, nervous. You have a big scene, and I knew how to take my shirt off and all that kind of stuff and do all this stuff. I was like, and again, like everybody, she was just so awesome and made me feel completely comfortable, and you know, it helps a lot when people are just, you know, so helpful and just like make you feel like you're part of the gang.
Yeah. You were so comfortable. The script didn't even call for you to take your shirt off.
No, as a matter of fact, yeah, exactly. That's what happened.
So you've been like, this role is really like taken on, and like we're happy to be introduced to you through this role. Is there any roles that you would love to play, like a dream character
in life?
Yeah.
Here? Well, I mean, dare I say it? I'm a little too small, I think, but Wolverine is probably the ultimate role in life, of course. I mean, like I'm a comic freak, you know, and I mean, Wolverine is it. That's awesome. That's the best thing ever. Yeah.
Hugh Jackman's on his last film.
For those who haven't seen it, Damien has pictures of himself as Wolverine on Instagram, and they are beautiful. You'd make a wonderful Wolverine.
Well, thank you.
But yeah, I mean, so let's, we're running low on time, so let's do a quick round of predictions.
Your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
Oh.
We had giveaway and news.
That's right, we do have a giveaway.
And we skipped the entire thing about the political thing, but that felt
skippable. The politics, yeah.
It was one scene.
Yeah, that's all. Go on.
Yael, thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, thank you.
Because I totally forgot. We got sent in some lovely fan art as part of our contest. The winner of one of our Monroe masks that Damien was using to hide his face is going to be sent out to
Alicia Perez, I believe is the last name, at Billie Jean Girl 18 on Twitter.
And let's take a look at these fan art photos if we could, Mark.
Yeah.
This is
that's Wait, where are we starting?
Let's start there.
Yeah.
With Yael
Nice.
as a Fuchs bow.
Adorable.
But then you see the glasses.
Yeah, that's how you know it's me.
And the mole. Good touch
she
with
got
the mole.
the
yeah.
mole.
Oh, yeah.
She did actually, yeah.
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 Attention to detail.
Oh, yeah.
And then up next,
That's me.
Tauri.
Ice
Ice
Beaver.
Beaver.
So good.
Oh man.
And
Hey.
Zach the Blute
As a
Bot.
Blute Bot.
Awesome.
Yep. My ears
You
got
look
a
a
lot
little bit
bigger.
like Hercules in Disney.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, you do.
Thank you so much for sending those in.
Yeah,
Those
thanks,
shows are
guys.
awesome. I've never been drawn before.
She, I don't believe, has ever done fan art before, and she's very happy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was, I think, awesome.
Yeah. All right. So, Yael, did you have anything else? Before?
Yeah, real quick. Claire Coffey plays Adeline, did a Periscope, and I put down some news that she gave us, some scoop. So she says that we're going to get answers about Diana in episode 13. We're going to find out where the tunnel leads in a couple episodes. She is a Whovian, which is so cool.
Nice.
But she's behind because of her baby. They are staying in the bunker, or the loft, or whatever they're calling it, for the foreseeable future. Meisner and Adeline is not happening in season 5. Trouble was not brainwashed to kill Nick.
Of course, not happening because Nataland is too busy forming.
Calm down.
I mean, she specified season 5. Season 6 is still on the table.
She also says, this is what she said: Adeline doesn't get her powers back soon, but ... And then she also said, and I quoted this: Juliet, the character, is dead. That's what I got from her.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
mean, we speculated that Bitsy could potentially come back.
Right.
Because who knows what people could use the body with. I mean, it's literally magic with Hex and Beasts.
Right.
So, who knows?
He's got nothing. It's not helping.
Who knows? All right.
poker player.
Well, I think that's a good enough place to get into to go back to predictions.
yeah.
One quick round before we got to wrap out. Tari, what are you thinking?
Oh, me.
I almost knock over me.
I think that within the next couple episodes, we're gonna get all the backstory about the SGO. I think that I mentioned that Meisner is royal, confirmed. No, that's it. That's about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the trailer we see that Meisner has a map, and that it's the uprising has gone, or the war has gone global, and that Renard gets brought into the loop. So I predict that Meisner and Nick start working together, and I also predict a love triangle.
Yeah, I think a love triangle is inevitable, at least in some form.
Right.
I would almost love to see Adeline just decide, be like, I need some time for me.
Yeah.
For me and my baby.
I have one more prediction.
While two guys fight over her.
It was similar to that. I predict and confirm or deny we get a shirtless Meisner. Soon.
Well, we'll work on it.
All right. Okay.
Now, no, I'm just kidding.
I wasn't going to stop you. Go on.
And with that, I think that's going to do it for this week at AfterBuzz TV for the Grimm After Show. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you want to keep up with us throughout the week, you can do so on Twitter and Instagram. Be sure to leave us an iTunes review and with a comment review. Make sure you're to subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. Subscribe to us on YouTube, SoundCloud, all of those places to find us. Until next week, Yael Tygiel.
The people can find me online at yael.tv. That's YAEL.tv. I'm also on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, everything. At Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL.
And Damien, is there anyone people can find
Just
you?
want to say thank you to everybody, and Banzai, you guys know what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. I haven't thanked you enough. This has been so much fun. This is a blast, absolute blast. Did you have any other projects you wanted to plug while you're here?
I have a film coming out. It's called Scramble. That's coming out early next year. That's like
great.
an independent film where I play like somebody who goes around and kills everybody.
Nice.
I know that's a great pitch, but never mind.
I'll see
I mean,
it.
yeah, Gal's already got her tickets.
Yep.
yeah.
It's called Scramble.
Yeah.
All right.
right,
be sure to look out for that. Tauri.
I'm Tauri J. Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Tauri J. It's TaurijAY, etc.
And you guys find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ZachWilson, and also here at AfterBuzz. Whole bunch of shows. Doctor Who season finale tonight. We're going to be talking about it here at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Be sure to tune in. I'm Zach Wilson, and thanks for geeking out with us.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.